Introducing the greatest show on earth, Pastor Cathy and the Stoughton United Methodist Church. Pastor Cathy and Mike pulled up the tent stakes and moved to Stoughton in 2016. Pastor Cathy continued established traditions and introduced some new ones.
From the moment I joined this church 4.5 years ago, you were there for me all the way. I quickly got nudged, maybe a little push, into leading cookie walks, vacation Bible schools, and many other fundraisers, and serving on the church board. And yes, you even talked me into standing on a corner waving people into our church car wash. I grew in faith, and through it all, I have cherished our friendship. I know this is not goodbye, because after all, you are coming to Baraboo. Please remember, my friend, a truly good pastor is hard to find and impossible to forget. I love you.
We're always looking for volunteers for the behind-the-scenes crew to keep Stoughton United Methodist vibrant and connected, even during a pandemic. When social distancing and quarantines made it difficult to get together in person, Pastor Cathy created a welcoming space for the young and the young at heart.
As the mask mandate was going to be lifted in Dane County, we were looking to attend in person. So we started driving around Stoughton. We had a list of churches and we just went through them. We drove past, saw that it was open and that there were people inside. And so we stopped by. Cathy walked up to us and introduced herself that the congregation hadn't started meeting in person again, but she welcomed us and invited us to attend service on Facebook for the next week. She's learned all the names quickly. She invited us to everything. She held the Wednesday night worship when it felt like it was just her and the 5 of us and maybe 2 people from the church. And she continued with those services. Pastor Cathy's been quick with responses to questions that Julia or I have posed to her, and they've been thoughtful questions that show that Pastor Cathy has taken the time to reflect on them and to give a sincere answer to. We're excited at the prospect of being a part of an established church that has some potential to grow with the addition of young families and children ministries.
She taught us that church doesn't need to be stuffy. She also taught us that church doesn't end on Sunday or stop at the sanctuary doors. She challenged our thinking, taught us to stand up for what we believe, we laughed, we prayed, we took care of each other, we shared moments of grace.
Pastor Cathy, I want you to know that we have all been so exceedingly blessed by your ministry here with us at Stoughton UMC. You've always led us with the joy and compassion of Jesus. And like him, you've always been a person who listened, who cared, and who uplifted everyone. You showed us how developing relationships with one another is at the heart of living out our Christian faith. You also taught us how to be affirming, open-minded, non-judgmental, and accepting of all. You were all a pastor should be and more, especially during difficult times. You encouraged us and kept us connected in creative ways, even as we waded through the rough waters of COVID. You were all a friend and sibling in Christ should be too. We shared some really good times at WOW, at choir, at Bells, at annual conference, at book study, and also at VBS, especially when we dyed our hair red. Your hair and Monica's faded quickly, whereas mine lasted for months. But it was fun. Cathy, you have been so appreciated here. Words are not enough to capture all that you did for us, but we thank you most of all for the beautiful gift of you. Thank you for your love, your grace, your wisdom, and your joy. May God's richest blessings go with you and Mike as you continue your ministry in Baraboo.
Thank you, Pastor Cathy and Mike. It's been an amazing ride. It's been an honor and blessing to know you. You have enriched our lives with your counsel, patience, love, and sacrifice. And now, the show must go on.
Cathy, this past 6 years, I have grown so much as a Christian. I've always believed in God, but not very active in serving Him. I remember that time that Dina was talking to you about recruiting liturgists. You said it sure would be nice to have some new voices. You asked me if I'd be interested. Reluctantly, I said yes. I thought the first time would be an ordinary Sunday. Then you said, how about Christmas Eve service? I was nervous, a lot of eyeballs looking at me. I survived with a couple of stumbles. But in the end, I knew God didn't care about a few mistakes. Now I look forward to serving God and our congregation. I also remember joining Bible study. The first was at Culver's, and you and Monica posted a picture of your ice cream treat. I posted, I like ice cream too, and you bribed me by telling me to come up and you would treat. It turned out we were people enjoying ice cream and talking about God's grace and love for all. It turned out Bible people weren't so weird after all. I'm now on the ALB serving God in our church. I'm so blessed in being able to do so. As time moved on, we became good friends with you and Mike. We enjoyed Packer games together, holidays and birthdays with one another. Cathy and Mike, you have both enriched Sandy's and my life, along with Kelly's and her children. I hope we did the same for both of you and your families. Cathy, the foundation you have built here at SUMC is strong and becoming vibrant. I have no doubt our church will continue to build on that foundation, along with our new pastor. I'm so excited for the Baraboo congregation. With all of your gifts, passion, and your love for serving God, that their church are in for a real treat. Finally, after the night you left, telling us about your move to Baraboo, Sandy and I looked at each other and said, where the H is Baraboo at? We looked it up on Google and decided it was a doable trip. So, we will pack a lunch and see you soon. We love you both.